The story begins with an unknown man releasing a column of golden light against the backdrop of a small town. About 3,000 years ago a genius appeared. A white-haired man with a crown on his head fought with heroes to take over the world. Many people tried to get into the sacred refuge. The gray-haired man was the first to create the door leading to godless territory. The overcast sky with the dried tree gave a more eerie look to this legend. A gray-haired man was floating in the sky, trying to depict something with his strength on a rock. According to legend, an unknown person tried to carve his entire life story on a piece of stone. The man had incredible power. He studied him with enormous power. Over time, he was recognized by all deities, and after that he was sent to the Joseon mainland to become a heavenly god. A generation of ancients gathered near the monument and used their endless power. Unfortunately for the white-haired man, the previous generation of ancients suddenly fell, and since then the former importance of the martial arts monument has been lost. The head of the ancient sat dead on his throne. There was a trail of blood leading to his place. Against the backdrop of a blue sky with mountainous terrain, the master gathered all his students to undergo certification of his academy. These were the teachings of Master Quan Zhong Jiao's utmost observance. With a serious face, the man decides to talk about the certification rules. Jiao added that the rules are very simple and they should hold their palm over Ling Tai, which should light up. Jiao states that anyone who fails the assessment will be expelled. Many students were outraged that they could be expelled because of such a test. The unknown guy on the tree silently watched the reactions of others. The guy noted that he did not expect to see his follower as soon as he was reborn. Adding with a grin that apparently this is his destiny, the guy decided to take this opportunity and again declare himself to the whole world. In a past life he was killed, but none of the 36 main deities even think that he is still alive. Having struck the tree, the guy firmly decided that when he returned to Jiaoxiao, he would sprinkle the heavenly gates with the blood of the main deities. The guy planned to end all peaceful days. Two students notice a guy hitting a tree. They don't quite understand what happened to Chen, but one of them guesses that the guy was afraid of the certification, because he was never able to correct his vile character. Jiao asks Knaya to calm down, because the certification has already begun. Chen was greatly affected by this and his eyes lit up. The guy slowly began to approach the monument. There was a terrible grimace on his face. The guy slowly passes his master and approaches the monument. Chen declares that he will now show how he really fools around. Having applied his hand, the stone began to gradually become covered with golden electric rays. The monument suddenly begins to crack and stones begin to fall off. The monument collapses and larger boulders continue to fall. Everyone present could not believe that the monument had been destroyed. Using all his strength, Chen added that from today the master has no power over him. Moving away from the stone in his thoughts, the guy noticed that in fact the stone was quite strong. Master Jiao was angry, because this monument was the greatest in the world, and even if it was attacked with the help of artifacts, there would not be a chip left on it. The master was amazed that Chen smashed the monument to pieces. Having shed a tear, the man could not admit the only fact. Opening his eyes, he adds that it seems to him that the highest religion is losing its former significance. All the students decide to leave, because the monument was destroyed and it is no longer possible to conduct the test. Jiao did not know what to do about it. Chen turns the stone and indignantly remarks that it was just a broken piece of stone, but this is so important to everyone. An unknown guy grabs Chen by the clothes and calls him boss. The guy adds that he assumes Chen will be in trouble after this. After analyzing the appearance and the ridiculous scar, Chen notices that his brother Jianli is worthless, but has great potential. Chen sees what's inside the guy, calling it promising. Chen explains that he doesn't care and Li shouldn't worry. At this point, the master asks all remaining students to continue the certification and pass through the 90-year gate. Chen asks his brother if he needs a stupid certification, which Master Jiao hears. The man explains that they cannot just pick up and leave, because the rules of the teaching of utmost observance are not mere entertainment, and only after receiving the blessing of the 9 deities can they become real disciples. Chen was greatly outraged by this statement. The guy notices that he doesn't remember when he established such rules. Li asks him to wait too. Jiao notices that several students are still with him, but Chen and Li still decide to leave. Chen slowly approaches the iron gate. The guy decides to open them and enter an unknown building. In the middle of the hall there were sculptures of the ancients, because this was the refuge of all the ancients, which greatly amazed the couple. All the sculptures were in ascending order. With a grin, Chen noted that there were only 8 deities in the ancient refuge. The guy noticed that when he was on Jiaoxiao, they all gave him nicknames in turn. The guy slowly walks past all the statues and begins to destroy everything one by one. The statues are trying to say something, but Chen didn't care much and left no mercy for anyone. Chen approaches another statue, but stops in the moment. A strange silence hung in the hall. Chen silently looked at her. The statue had a scary smile, which interested the guy. With a sneer, the guy asks why this statue still exists in nature, since it should have disappeared by now. Chen destroys the last statues. Li wonders what just happened. The guy decides to clarify whether he is judging him, because he got involved with the wrong person. At this moment, Master Jiao enters the hall with a smile and asks the couple to leave the room, because they were unable to receive the blessing of the ancients. Jiao could not believe what he saw. He did not understand what exactly happened in the room. Through gritted teeth, Jiao decides to clarify whether Chen understands what he has just done. Master Jiao, with blood-red eyes, jumps towards Chen, but the students try to calm the enraged teacher. With folded hands, Chen notices that his problem requires resolution and therefore the souls of the ancients will have to help him, because Chen plans to return to Jiaoxiao. At this moment, a golden flash appears in the hall. The entire hall is enveloped in divine power and Chen rises in the middle. Master Jiao couldn't believe what he saw. Chen understood that only a small number of people were capable of such incredible things. Li was also very surprised by what he saw. He did not understand when his boss could become so strong. Chen lands slowly. Jiao notices that he has no strength and no talent for cultivation, sneeringly suggesting that the gods have gone crazy and gone crazy. Chen notices in his thoughts that Master Jiao is trying to provoke him. Chen decides to ask why Jiao thinks so, because he saw everything himself. The master explains that at his age there can only be 9 spiritual veins and only 3 of them are open. Chen was angry at such disrespect. He explains that Jiao underestimates him and it won't be difficult for the guy to show all 9 veins right now. The Jiaos silently look at the self-confident guy. The whole crowd began to laugh loudly after such words. No one believed in these empty speeches. Chen decides to release all his great power. The hall was once again covered with lightning bolts of the guy's energy. With an ominous smile, Chen calls those students dropouts with a mediocre teacher. The guy planned to teach them a lesson. Master Jiao's laughter slowly turned into surprise. The man was amazed that the guy managed to open the first spiritual vein. The man notices that a scarlet glow has appeared on Chen's body. This means that the guy has opened the first spiritual vein. 3 majorities appear against a background of scarlet glow. This means that the guy opened one of them. In turn, all 3 deities are divided into 3 parts. The guy notices that no matter how much he hated the academy, he still managed to open his veins with its help. Chen realizes that he can only use martial arts with one hand and he should take care of this. One of the students cannot believe it, because Chen has mastered the first vein. Master Jiao observes that the guy plans to open subsequent veins. Another student cannot believe that he can continue to open the sting. Master Jiao notices that the guy opens the 3rd and then the 5th and 6th veins. As a result, Chen mastered all 9 veins, which means the guy turned into a maximum level martial arts cultivator. The crowd couldn't believe that the guy managed to master all 9 veins so quickly. Li also notes that his boss has mastered all 9 spiritual veins. The master could not leave for a long time and simply silently watched what was happening. Chen's eyes were still sparkling with an electric pulse. The guy lowers himself to the ground and, shaking off his clothes, asks if the audience is impressed. Jiao could not understand how the guy managed to do this and what the trick was. The man clenched his teeth and did not understand what to do next. Jiao decides to announce that Chen becomes his successor and the next master. The disciples could not believe this news. Everyone immediately decides to bow to the future master. Chen looked at the master with a serious look. The guy asks about the successor. With a dry smile, he points his finger at the master and announces that the academy no longer needs him. With a grin, he asks Jiao to no longer call him successor, but master. One of the former master's associates points a finger at Chen and points out his ignorance of the real master. Jiao notices with a serious face that everything should go as usual. Jiao asks the guy not to be arrogant, because it will hurt him to fall in the future. Chen, closing his eyes, decides to ask again about the words of the former master. With folded hands, Chen decides to tell about the alchemist who lived 3,000 years ago, who created those very symbolic seals in the world. the guy asks the master to tell about them and which of them were lost. The guy pushes off the ground and approaches the former master at great speed. Chen notes that under Jiao's leadership, the academy has sunk to the very bottom. Chen looks into Jiao's eyes, piercing him with small lightning. The guy asks whether he can be called a master after all this. Jiao adds that if a guy's cultivation level exceeds his in a year, he will immediately give up his place as a master. Chen passes by and adds that 3 months is enough for him to do this. The guy adds that he will spend all these 3 months in the shelter and asks no one else to enter there. The Chen slowly head towards the shelter. The master's close associate clarifies whether the guy is going to enter the refuge, where only the master has the right to enter. And the men gritted their teeth and couldn't believe that a worthless cultivator would dare to enter the refuge of the ancients. All this time, Li, being next to Chen, checks with whether he can continue to stay with him. After some time, the Quanjian Academy was heavily damaged, and everyone present was severely injured. The men on the opposite side clarify whether this student is the strongest in the academy. After all, it's very boring for him to mock weak opponents. The guy on the floor demands that they show respect to the walking master. The master goes out into the street with his entourage and watches all the horror. One of the Lord's associates begins to mock the master, not putting him in comparison with the Lord at all, considering that he is much stronger than the worthless master. Master Jiao notices that the Lord's students are crossing all boundaries. The Lord, together with his subordinates, stands opposite the master. One of the lying students asks him to spare him and not kill him. The Lord turns to the master and notices that his level of cultivation is too weak. The man activates his power. A small purple orb appears from his hand. The Lord approaches the master with great speed and strikes him. The Lord notes that the master is quite weak and can defeat him with just one blow. The master flies to the side with great speed. The Lord does not understand why the academy exists for weak students. The master and his students fall soullessly to the ground. The master was still conscious, but he did not know how to confront the lords of his students. The Lord asks to be taken to the main hall. Looking at the master and passing by, he notices that today the academy will come to an end. The master did not believe that the academy would be destroyed before his eyes. One of the subordinates reminds us of disciple Chen. The master does not understand what a would-be cultivator can do to such a strong lord. The guy reminds that in a matter of minutes he opened all 9 spiritual veins and he may be able to defeat the lord. In your thoughts, the master doesn't take you, he will really have to beg Chen. The Lord's people ask the master and his students to watch as their academy is destroyed before their eyes. And if he understood that he could not allow this. The man, clenching his fist, rises to his feet and moves towards Chen. At this moment, something sat on the throne and continued to meditate. His case was covered by millions of lightning bolts. Chen was able to reach the 13th spiritual vein in such a short time. Chen decides to stand up from the throne, completing his teaching. Chen notes that these 9 celestial practices can open up 36 spiritual veins after repeated cultivation. The guy noticed that he could already feel the power of 30 spiritual veins. Chen realizes that after his rebirth he does not have a single skill he needs. Everyone back to the throne, he begins to remember how he used one of the methods stored in Tibet. I don't understand why other students don't practice this. At this moment, the door to the hall opens, which attracts Chen's attention. With a look on his face, the master enters the door and immediately looks at Chen. Chen asks with a smile why the master disturbed him, explains what happened to Shen's students at the academy. The Chen note that the master was badly beaten. This worried him greatly. The master explains that today the strongest student was lost and does not know how to resist, because his academy is coming to an end. Chen wonders why the master was beaten so easily. Seriously, when I noticed to us that the master looks quite pitiful. The master's eyes widened and he added that Chen himself had arrived. Chen gets up from the throne and suddenly appears near the exit. The master understands that the guy is serious about fighting back. At this moment, on the street, Shen's students continued to beat the master's disarmed students. One of Shen's students calls the Quan Academy worthless. I explain that they will come to an end and the academy will be destroyed. At that moment, Chen was walking from afar with the master. Shen's students noticed this. The master explains to Chen that these are just Shen's students and if he loses, the academy will come to an end. Chen wonders why it sounds like someone has a chance against him. The guy removes the master's hand, adding that she holds the victory alone. Chen slowly approached the crowd of Xing disciples. In mine, the guy noticed that he had opened 13 spiritual veins and they didn't have a single chance. The guy stops in front of the crowd and addresses them. Chen extends his hand and asks those to follow him. Sheng's students did not understand who was standing in front of them, calling him the unknown scum of the academy. Chen decides to speak in a more rude manner and asks you to get up and follow him. Chen demands those to stop wasting his time because he is in a hurry. One of Shen's students was outraged by the disrespect and was interested in someone he thought was his own. The man attacks the guy, wanting to crush him, how sorry he is. With a grin, the guy asks the big man if he is confident in his abilities. The man uses his rock-crushing technique on Chen. It hits the target, causing the earth under Chen to immediately begin to crack. Student Shen flies out of a cloud of dust from the ground. Everyone assumed that he was able to cope with the useless guy. The master himself assumed that Chen's end had come. The man laughingly suggests that the upstart has died. To the man's surprise, he notices Chen coming out of the cloud of smoke. Che is not interested in whether the guy planned to kill him with such a weak blow. The master was greatly amazed that Chen managed to survive and not receive a single scratch. All of Sheng's disciples were also amazed and couldn't believe what they saw. Chen's eyes sparkled with fire. The guy asks to think about draining and try to leave while he allows it. Sheng's disciples were outraged by this statement, and did not still want to punish the guy for his arrogance. Then decides to activate his ability, covering the ground next to him with fire. Everything around the guy begins to glow with a bright flame. Chen asks to ask just one question. Chen, without experiencing any pain, dispels a piece of fire with his hand. Chen clarifies barely or Sheng's students before this fight. Sheng's disciples were amazed by such strength, calling the guy a monster. Chen mockingly covered the golden fire with blue lightning. He added that it was his turn to fight back. The guy suddenly begins to approach the crowd. His hand sparkled strongly with lightning. Everyone in the area begins to notice how an incredibly powerful force appears around the guy. The Sheng disciples were no longer very confident in their victory, seeing such a strong opponent. Chen, with light movements, deals with all the Sheng students in front of him. Several wounded Sheng students come to the Lord and report an unknown guy who owns the cultivation. The guys add that they can't defeat him. The Lord doesn't understand what kind of 3 dares to kill his students while he's busy. Chen ends up with another enemy everywhere, leaving without a single scratch. Chen mockingly notes that the Lord cannot accept his defeat. Chen notices in his thoughts that the Lord has a high level of cultivation and he would like to fight with him. The Lord, taking the blade out of his hands, understands that this will end either in victory or defeat. The man takes out another blade and explains that today he is here for only one reason. I activate the next blade. He calls this an order from the head, by which he should destroy the Quan Academy. The man uses his perfect form and demands that the guy surrender to him because he will die. Everyone who wanted to survive is trying to run away from the battlefield. The video is in strong form. They asked Chen to run away. The master lowered his head and understood that because of him, the academy had fallen low and would be destroyed. Chen grabbed his head and doesn't understand how Jiao became a master. Chen shouts to the master that there is no point in being here. Jiao asks Chen to hurry up and retreat immediately. You don't believe that the guy can cope with the Lord. Chen begins to stretch his hand and wonders if it is true that the master was scared and plans to escape. Chen still doesn't understand why the man called himself a master after everything. Chen explains to the Lord that he is ready to give those 10 seconds so that they all leave his academy. The Lord couldn't believe it with such impudence, calling the guys nonentities. The Lord's eyes shone with a blue flame. He doesn't understand how the guy dares to treat him like that. The man decides to activate his power and use the deadly typhoon on the guy. The master understands that their affairs are too bad and do not know what to do. Chen, with a calm face, asks the master to leave him. The guy activates the blue sphere in his hand and shoots it. The shot hits the man directly in the chest, which he did not expect at all. The man realizes that the guy is much stronger than he expected and the blow lands directly on him, injuring his head. The man falls to the ground and twitches for a short time. After a few seconds the body becomes completely soulless. The man dies silently without having time to say anything. Chen asks the other students if they are going to attack him. In his thoughts, Chen noted that if they had met under other circumstances, he would not have had a single chance to defeat such a strong opponent, but now he can load up on absolutely any strong opponent. All of Sheng's disciples immediately begin to run away, in fear of the video, the lifeless body of the Lord. The master does not understand how the guy managed to do this. Chen adds that the man has no right to be called a master in the future. An angry man wonders why he is not worthy. Chen looks at the master with a serious look and adds that if he even moves, he will be finished. The master remembers the Lord's lifeless body with a pierced forehead. The master understands that he should not contradict the guy, because he will suffer exactly the same fate. Chen heads to the warehouse and announces that the sect has changed its leader. The guy asks Treasure to go and bring him spiritual stones. Without listening to the explanation, Chen decides to go and take the spiritual stones himself. Having reached the treasury of the academy, he observes that it is empty because they managed to take everything out. Chen realizes that all the stones were stolen by Xing's students. The guy asks to prepare a horse for him because he planned to visit the city. Chen suggests that if he leaves right now, he will be able to catch up with the robbers. Having reached the stables, one of the subordinates explains that all the horses were stolen and only the donkey remained. Chen couldn't believe such a statement. Chen nevertheless took the donkey and went to the city, noting that he would be the first master to ride a donkey. Chen decided in his mind that as soon as he got money he would immediately buy a horse. One of the knights standing opposite Chen explains that the poor have no place in his city. With a creepy face, Chen asks what the guard just said. Chen looks indignantly at the knight and asks what the guard just said. The knights begin to burst into laughter, explaining that the entrance to the city of Qin was closed to the poor. The guy with a gloomy face explains that he is the current master of Quan Academy. The knights continue to mock the guy, adding that they have never heard of such a thing, calling it just another outback. Chen's face became more and more creepy. That was the final straw, that he was called worthless. Chen attacks the knights with his strength and scatters them with one blow. Both guards were slammed into the wall with great speed. Such force even knocked out the teeth of one of the guards. The second was breathing heavily from out of breath. The knights could not believe such a powerful force. They realized that the cultivator was standing in front of them. Chen descends from the donkey with a roar and stands opposite the knights. Chen decides to ask again if they will let him into the city. The knight looked at the cultivator's face in horror. Holding hands, they did not understand why he had such a terrifying face, suggesting that he wanted to kill them. Not wanting to get involved, the knights with trembling hands decide to let the cultivator through. With a grin, Chen notes that they could have missed it without all this performance. Stretching his hands, adding that the knights themselves are to blame for bringing it to this. The knights indignantly watch the cultivator go, not wanting to further contact him. Chen slowly approaches the door and stands with his donkey. Chen ties the donkey to the stall and decides to enter one of the houses. But this did not stop the knights. They saw with a grin how the guy left. Without further thought, they untie the donkey to spoil the cultivator. Chen asks the man behind the counter if there is some scarlet spirit grass in town. In his thoughts, he remembered that this herb is used in medicine, which grows thanks to earth essence. The man doesn't pay any attention to the guy and asks him to go ask someone else. The unknown person decides to address Chen, calling him a poor man. He notes that the guy can't even have a couple of spiritual stones. Chen examines his tattered clothes, realizing that he should change his clothes. All clothes were covered in dust and dirt from the recent battle. Chen decides to brush himself off, wondering why the man thinks he can't afford it. An unknown person throws a spirit stone at the guy's feet, and without her, what exactly does he need to buy scarlet spirit grass? The guy explains that this spiritual stone is for him to fail. Chen was greatly outraged by this and silently looked into the guy's eyes. Chen stands on the spirit stone and adds that he will see who gets this scarlet spirit grass. Chen notices that the store sells elixirs and so he takes a brush and dips it in ink. Chen adds that he has an exchange offer and begins to write something on a piece of paper. The guy furiously begins to draw hieroglyphs on the paper. When he's finished, he throws the brush on the table. After looking at his creation, the guy decides to demonstrate what exactly he wrote. Chen puts a piece of paper on the table and asks to exchange the blood pill for the scarlet spirit grass. The unknown people were surprised that the guy was trying to offer spirits in exchange for the scarlet grass. The man behind the counter immediately goes to Chen. He couldn't believe that the guy was offering a bloody pill. Chen watched the man closely for his reaction. The merchant could not believe what he saw, because the recipe had long been lost. The man immediately runs and asks him to wait for him. The merchant wanted to check the authenticity of this recipe. Lin standing with his sister were amazed at this news. The girl noticed that her brother promised her. Lin points his finger at Chen and demands that he give up the scarlet spirit grass in an amicable way. Touching Chen's temple, he wonders who the guy is. Chen doesn't understand how many more people she goes to in the city who want to provoke him. The girl was outraged by such a statement from Chen, because Master Shen himself was standing in front of them. Chen was amazed that it was Master Shen in front of him. After all, he had already heard this name before. Shen mockingly demands that he apologize to him, otherwise the guy will have a problem. Chen looked at the guy with an ominous face, but at the moment Chen stops, not wanting to continue the meaningless conversation. Shen begins to mock him, calling the guy a bastard. At this moment, an unknown old man and a girl enter the establishment. The man silently walks to the counter. The girl's face was covered with a hat. Chen, holding his chin, notices the power of Tai Yin. Please note that this is the last stage and the girl only has 10 days left. The old man stops in front of the guy and looks at him in surprise. The man wonders why the guy said this to him, but if she understands that the unknown person could find out just by looking at the girl, assuming that the guy has a medicine for him. Chen explains that he knows how to reverse Tai Yin. The man is wondering if the guy could tell me the solution to this poison. Shen, unable to restrain himself, decides to attack the guy. With great speed, Shen approaches Chen. He couldn't dare ignore his boyfriend. Chen, with a calm face, demands that the guy get lost already. With tremendous force the guy is thrown aside. Shen falls near his sister's feet, hitting the wall along the way. An unknown man, some kind of flame-colored, was outraged by such ignorance. Chen notices the old man's unusual spiritual strength, suggesting that he is not far from the fifth divine teaching. The girl immediately rushed to her brother to clarify whether he had been hurt. The man explains that he has some business with the guy and he won't dare to let them get in the way. Shen notices a sign hanging on the man's belt and they immediately understand that they should not interfere. The man asks Chen to sit down and discuss all the details. The guy notices the old man's respect for himself. Shen, unable to continue being here, decides to leave, but she still wanted to take revenge on Chen for the disrespect. Naturally, my teeth and heading towards the exit, Shen noted that today he would definitely take revenge. The man introduces Chen to his daughter, who was sitting on his left hand. The machine asks his granddaughter to take off her hat and let her look at her face. The girl slowly takes the hat and takes it off. The girl's face was ordinary with blue eyes. The man wonders how exactly the curse should be reversed. Chen Yi looked at the girl for another second, unable to take his eyes off her beauty, and remembering, the guy took a ride and apologized for being embarrassed to speak. The guy explains that if the girl agrees to go with him and stay, he will help cure this illness. In her thoughts, the girl noticed that the guy was quite rude. She did not believe that her grandfather could agree to this. A man doesn't understand if the guy hasn't explained how to reverse it, then how can he agree? Chen gets up from the table and adds that the man did not agree with him and therefore will not be able to tell the secret. Chen adds that the girls have 10 days left and this will be their time to think about everything and agree. The man silently follows Chen with his gaze. He thinks about recent conversations. Leave the table and head to the exit. The girl notices that a guy is the same age as her and is so poorly dressed. Going out into the street, the girl decides to clarify what the guy said. The man adds that the girl has a rather difficult situation in which he still has not found a way out. A man with a serious look understands that they have no other choice but this. At this moment, Chen stands in the inner room, where the other alchemists were. At this moment, your alchemists were scurrying around and trying to find Chen to make scarlet spirit grass. One of the alchemists notices Chen calling him his master. Chen is interested in what exactly the guy is holding in his hands at the moment. Chen watches in horror that the guy's hands were already badly burned. The guy runs up to Chen Yi and asks him to make scarlet grass. He also notes that his medicine provided today was lost many years ago. Chen explains that he is from Quan Academy and still asks, holding Chen's head, you understand that it's all because of his charm and that's why he's popular everywhere. Another alchemist brings scarlet spirit grass in his hands and asks to take the master. Chen takes the red flower and thinks about what to do with it next. I remember that he doesn't have a stove at the academy and asks to use it in this building. Everyone kindly gives in to him so that he can demonstrate all his skills. Chen approaches the stove and decides to open it to throw in the scarlet spirit grass. At this moment, another great alchemist comes in and asks the guy to stop. The man begins to scream and demand that everyone stop, because this is just an unknown child who is confused in his brain. And all the alchemists begin to bow to him and apologize for the incident. The man did not want to listen to them and demand that everyone shut up. The men are wondering why the guy took all these herbs and is trying to make bloody. The man explains that the bloody tablet was lost many years ago and he himself was unable to make it. One of the alchemists approaches Chen and explains that Tong was a great alchemist of the 3rd rank. Chen understands that in his previous life he was much better and was already a 9th rank alchemist at the age of 17. Chen does not pay attention to Tong's demands and throws scarlet flowers to demonstrate his skills. The man was furious at such disrespect for himself. The man explains that to start using the stove, you need to warm it up and gradually add herbs, and not how Chen is doing everything at the moment. All the alchemists there begin to doubt Chen's skill, suggesting that the guy might actually be a liar. At this moment, the oven continued to boil, and the flour was cooking. All the alchemists in the hall were shocked by what they were seeing at the moment. A huge flower stem with a luxurious bud stuck out of the oven. Tong himself was amazed at what he saw, because he did not expect such a result at all. Everyone understood that this production exceeded the level of Tongan elixirs. The guy notices that he got a brown sphere of not the maximum level. He noticed that there are many qualities of medium high and super quality. Chen tried to prepare a potion of super quality, but it turned out only brown instead of yellow. Anything throws an unnecessary sphere, calling it garbage. One of the alchemists notices this and immediately catches her. I don't understand why he calls it garbage. Tong still couldn't come to his senses. He didn't understand why the guy called such a good product garbage. Chen decides to recook the scarlet spirit grass and Tong was even more surprised by the result. In front of everyone above the furnace stood a golden sphere of maximum level. Tong stood in front of the stove and couldn't believe what he saw. It was the first time that all the alchemist premises had seen such elegant alchemy. Chen, with folded hands, asks Tong if he is sure that he is too self-confident. Tong apologizes for his behavior and calls the guy a master, offering to stay in his shop. All the other alchemists surround the guys and ask him to stay to demonstrate more skill. The guy takes the golden sphere and thanks all the alchemists for providing the forge. Chen adds that he is from Quan Academy and therefore he does not intend to stay in this city. The guy slowly heads towards the exit. The rest of the alchemists continue to stare at him. Many alchemists could not expect that a master could come from the Quan Academy. Many discussed the complete destruction of the academy. We began to doubt this case. The man explains that he is leaving the store to Chen and wants to clean his house and become a teacher. Chen goes outside and notices that his donkey has been stolen. Chen looks around and realizes that he will have to cover the entire distance on his own 2 feet. But at this moment, the knights who stole the donkey continue to sit by the fire and rejoice at what they managed to steal. Chen noted in his thoughts that this was his only way to get to the academy. The knights who decided to mock Chen noticed that the four-legged taste is much better than he looks. Chen was furious at what was done to his donkey. Chen activates his skills and suddenly approaches the guys. The guy declares that he will make all the knights pay for his anger. One of the guard knights declares that the guy does not dare to commit outrages in his city. The man attacks Chen, shouting that he will send the guy to hell. Chen calmly looked at the man, not waiting for him to get close enough. With a slight movement of his hand, he hits the man in the chest and pushes him away. Chen adds that divine wrath is terrible for such pitiful people. The knight could not believe the strength of the unknown guy. The crowd standing on the sidelines could not believe it, because in the city it is forbidden to organize fights and rowdy. At this moment, another more senior guard approaches the guard demanding that he stop this. With his hands folded, the man notices that the guy is ignoring him. All the people behind noticed that the guy would pay for his impudence. Chen wonders who wants to fight him at the moment. In his thoughts, the guy noticed that he could cope with absolutely everyone in this city. Chen decides to use martial arts to defeat this knight. Chen adds that he plans to have a lot of fun with this guard by activating his ability. Without listening to Chen's speech, the knight attacks with his lion fighting technique. This technique just amused the guy. With incredible speed, the shadow goes around the guys and delivers a series of blows. Being behind the knight, people were amazed at how quickly the guy was able to defeat him. The man's flesh began to slowly tear apart from such strong blows. The man falls exhausted and falls to the ground. The man, lying in blood and unable to resist, looked at the departing Chen. Chen notices that next time this knight will not be made so easily. The crowd began to talk, not understanding what had happened at the moment. Please pay attention to the approaching danger. With lightning speed the guy dodges the blade approaching him. Master Shen wanted to take revenge for the recent disrespect towards him. I noticed that no one will save him on the street. Chen notices that the guy came to him again, offering to feel all the consequences for the recent situations. Master Shen is covered by several experienced fighters. They offer to fight back the guy. With great speed, one of Sheng's disciples decides to attack. Chen manages to cover himself for the unexpected attack. With such force the guy is thrown back, but he manages to gain a foothold on earth. Master Shen repeats again, which gives him a chance to apologize to them and fall to his knees. The teaching at this moment began to bleed from the mouth. He was amazed that such strong rivals were subordinates of the master. Several experienced fighters continued to stand opposite Chen. Chen, with fire in his eyes, adds that this academy has seriously angered him. Shen resends his two subordinates to attack Chen. But the attacker stops in a moment after hearing indignation from Tong. The man stands in front of Chen using his skills. He is indignant that they have the right to attack his master. The man demands that everyone leave his master. Chen assumes that this is the only way he is trying to save him today. Shen was amazed that Master Tank himself was protecting a worthless guy, calling him a master. The man was very angry, rolling up his sleeves. She adds that no one has the right to call his master names, because otherwise they will have to deal with him. Shen couldn't believe that the city's chemists were calling the worthless guy a master. He didn't understand why Chen stood out. Shen still decides to ask Master Tong why he considers the guy a great master. The man states that Shen has not seen the great master's abilities, and notes that he cannot compare with the skills of his people from the store. Shen notes that he should not continue this conflict. After all, Tong himself fiercely defended the guy. Shen explains that today he was only planning to teach the ignorant guy a lesson and not have any conflict with the Tonga store. The guy turns around and asks his subordinates to follow him. All the alchemists had finished assembling the store and were already heading for Master Tong. The alchemists greeted Master Chen. Tong notices that the store no longer needs the help of other alchemists and wonders why they continue to follow you. The Tongs decide to go with Master Chen to his academy, and also asks to help him create a healing elixir. Chen wonders if Tong plans to move his store to his academy. Tong explains his decision by saying that he wants to see the landscapes and start teaching. Chen agrees with Tong's decision. The guy notes that he was actually lucky because he could stay in this city. Chen waves his hand and asks all the alchemists to remember to load everything on the horse. The entire crowd was surprised that the great alchemist of their village decided to follow Master Chen. The girl also watched the entire performance and was surprised that Tong followed him. The girl notices that other alchemists followed them. The man was not entirely sure, but he assumed that the guy would still be able to heal and had enormous power. The man adds that they will visit the academy, but not right now. I want to continue to follow the guy. After a short time, Chen and the alchemists reached the academy. Jiao was surprised by who returned with Chen. Jiao clarifies whether the people behind him plan to live at the academy. Chen looks around and adds that he planned to do so. Jiao was more than pleased with this, because a whole dozen alchemy masters were at the academy and he would be able to train them. Tong is interested in where he will have to live. Chen asks him not to bother him and turn to Jiao, because he will tell them everything and show them. Tong is interested in what level of elixir the master plans to make. Chen replies that the black level will be enough for him because he will drink it immediately. Tong, realizing that this is just a black level, is not very interested in this. Jiao offers to follow him to get settled. At this point, Chen returned to meditation and decided to continue to discover new possibilities. The guy decided to use the same golden soul herb prepared today. He continued to meditate using this stone. Chen understood that the black level blood pill was not that effective. He would only be able to open 20 spiritual veins. At that moment, Li bursts into the building where Chen was located, shouting that they have problems. Chen helps Li up. The guy says that Shen's people burst into their place. He also reports that everyone is panicking and running away except Jiao. Chen was outraged by Master Shen's presence. The guy goes out into the street angry with the desire to punish the guy for his concern. Jiao can barely stand in front of the guy. He was the only obstacle in front of them. Shen reminds that the man wanted to resolve all conflicts peacefully. Sheng demand that the man hand over Chen and his supporters to him. I note that maybe after this he will not die today. Shen's disciples begin to mock the man, demanding that he not be a fool and hand over the guy to them. Jiao explains that there were days when he bowed to the Holy Church and taught everyone in his academy, and it would be an honor to die for it. Jiao also adds that no matter how much he loves Chen, he will not betray him even under the threat of death. At this moment, Chen himself comes out to Master Shen, noting that Jiao was very important for the academy. Chen comes closer and stands level with Jiao. He notices that the guy came to him again. Shen stated that after the meeting the guy would pay for everything. A crowd of his subordinates stood next to him. The guy declared with an ominous face that today the guy's miserable existence would end. At that moment, Tong came out into the street and demanded that the guy calm down, because he was talking to the master and he could be treated for his dirty tongue. Shen explains that he arrived because the guy committed a serious murder and for this he is ready to take revenge. Chen asks Tong not to interfere. After all, I am a guy, it is his problem and he needs to solve it. Shen noted with a grin that the monument was destroyed by the guy and there was no barrier around their academy. Chen smiled no less ominously and confirmed his guesses. Chen decides to use his abilities and punish the guy. Chen begins to approach the guy with great speed. Shen begins to assume that this is the power of the great guardian, lost everything. Chen, with fire in his eyes, comes close enough to strike. Chen looks straight into Shen's eyes, which makes him horrified. Chen delivers one small blow, causing the guy to start bleeding from his mouth. Chen leaves a mark on the guy's body. All subordinates notice how an incomprehensible stamp does not remain on their lord. The guy begins to breathe heavily. He does not understand what happened to him and why his cultivation disappeared. Chen explains that for 10 days the guy will not be able to attack the academy and he should return to his possessions and not try to regain his powers. Chen realizes that the spiritual messages left by the disciples have disappeared and the preparation is complete. Shen does not believe the guy's empty words and decides to check whether his cultivation power is working, because he is many times stronger than Chen. All his subordinates, including the guy himself, begin to activate cultivation. The guy immediately twisted from his mouth, blood began to actively flow through his mouth, and his eyes twisted from pain. The guy grabbed his head and could not bear such severe pain. The rest of his subordinates could not understand what was happening to him. Chen reminds that he put a seal on his body and now he will not be able to attack the academy, otherwise he will die. One of the guy's subordinates notes that you need to wait 10 days and nothing will threaten the master. With a grin, Chen notices the guy's words that nothing will be in danger. Chen activate the seal on the guy's body to mock him. He begins to torment Shen with headaches, which the guy could not bear. The guy lowers his hands and silently looks at the crowd led by Shen. Chen demands that you fall into his territory immediately, otherwise they will also pay. All of Shen's subordinates quickly begin to climb in and take the master with them. Jiao watches with Chen as the crowd slowly moves towards the gate. Jiao is interested in why the guy gave them the day, because you will definitely return to their academy to pay. Chen adds that he only needs 10 days to complete the preparations and finish them all off without hesitation. Chen waves his hand at Tonggu and asks him to follow him into the city. The man wonders what exactly the guy needed at such a time in the city. Chen adds that he should prepare well for the role of a master. With a sneer, the man with a sneer, Chen arrived in Qin City to visit Chen's store. Opening the doors of the store, Tong wonders why they came here. Chen explains that they came here to purchase the materials he needs. Chen paying attention to the man, they add that since he lives at his academy, he must pay for it. Tong immediately understands what is being said and does not contradict it in any way. Tong adds that this is generous on his part, explain that he is ready to pay for absolutely any of his services. At this moment, an elderly man comes out to them with a question. Tong Alchemist 3rd class is standing in front of him. The man wonders what brought the travelers to the store today. Tong explains that he is accompanying the master to buy the materials he needs. The man examines the appearance of the so-called master. A man notices unkempt shoes, which greatly irritates him. The man wonders why the poor guy visited his store. The man notices that the materials in his store are quite expensive than Tongan elixirs. Tong, holding his head, understands that the great master should change his clothes in the near future. Tong declares that he will cover all expenses and the master can purchase anything. Tong quietly tells the master that he should buy new clothes. Chen agrees and decides to write down the materials he needs to buy. While Chen was filling out the sheet with the materials he needed in the background, Tong and the man began to shout at each other about the recent price of Tong's elixirs. It's important to note that their stores are identical, but in the dispute they have completely different intentions. Tong declares that the man should not come his way, because all the masters of the city of Qin will come to him and buy elixirs at double the price. Tong declares that today he will be responsible for all the master's expenses. The man angrily demanded that he give a list of needs. The man carefully reads the entire list. The man is interested in why the guy needs so many materials. You ask if the master needs anything else. Tong states that the master should buy all this without any problems and demands that he not waste his time. The man calls his subordinate to him. Handing the list to his subordinate, he demands that he collect everything from the list and bring it to the visitors. Chen asks if Tong has enough money for all his expenses. Tong explains that if he didn't have money, he would have sold several tablets long ago. Against the background of a small teapot, you can understand that about half an hour has already passed. After collecting all the necessary materials, Tong received the exact price of everything, which made the man at a loss. Tong hits the wall with his fist and declares that this is too much for the necessary materials. You notice his store earns this amount in a year. The man mockingly declares that these are his usual prices. If Tong doesn't like it, then they will have to return everything back. Tong doesn't know what to do with all this and decides to turn to the master with a statement that he does not have enough spiritual stones. Chen declares with a smile that he does not have a single stone. The man looked at the guy with mockery, noting that he came with absolutely no money, but also reminds me that if more than 10 items are returned to you, you must pay for the return. The man angrily declares that he will not let the couple go until they pay for everything. Chen holds Tong with the suggestion that he can offer an exchange. The man is interested in what such an unusual guy can offer him. With a smile, Chen asks the man to watch him carefully because he will show him only once. If he doesn't have time, it's his problem. Chen raises his index finger up and shows golden energy. A huge seal appears under the guy's feet, which greatly amazes the man. The man understands that the complexity of this seal exceeds the level of the heavenly seal. He doesn't understand how the guy was able to demonstrate this. Tong watched this with a grin, calling his master a great one. Chen removes the seals and declares that he can show it only once, so that the man can remember it. Otherwise, if the man wants to see it again, they can agree. The man wonders what kind of seal this is, and if it's not what he's thinking about, it's worthless. Chen calls this seal Xianjiu with a frown. The man immediately understands what great seal the guy is talking about, because this seal is the strongest in the world and was lost a long time ago. The man understands that since this seal was lost too long ago from the time of the king of the deity, then it is worth a lot of money. Chen heads to the exit and declares that the man can either believe it or not. Chen adds that he came here to purchase materials in exchange for the seal if they trust her. The man agrees to follow him and look at such a powerful seal. Chen takes the man to his Quan Academy, which he immediately notices. The man wonders if the guy is one of the students of the academy. In his thoughts, he noticed that the guy was also a member of a shitty sect. He wonders if the guy is going to do anything or if they will continue to stand idle. The guy explains that first they should work and clean up this whole parade ground. The man was furious with this, as were his subordinates. They claim that the guy has no right to ask them for such a thing, because they came specifically for the seal. The guy explains that he would like to see the indescribable beauty of this peak and, unlike all the other 6, only this one is dirty. Chen looks at the man and wonders if he can handle it. Through clenched teeth, the man silently looks at the guy, pondering his decision. The man, together with his subordinates, begins to roll up their sleeves. Their patience has run out and they wanted to punish the guy for such disrespect. Without bringing this to a conflict, Chen throws all the letters to the man. The guy explains that the man now has all his writing and can reproduce it from memory. The man opens one of the letters and begins to look carefully. The man understands that this seal is many times stronger than the others he has previously seen. The man could not believe that this seal surpassed the heavenly level of the seal. The guy returned to his chambers and continued to meditate for the next 3 days. At one point the guy realized that the stars of infinity are the only ones that will not go out. Having finished meditating, the guy stood up. The guy understood that since ancient times a huge number of people had missed this stage and did not dare to repeat it, but fortunately he would not have to do this. The guy, deep in thought, noticed that Taiyan is the strongest form of the spiritual relic and also our form of cultivation is stronger. The guy tried to remember the Dark Lord's recipe for infinity. Shaking himself off, Chen believed that he must be the strongest cultivator and the best in every form of art that he had ever used. Chen believes that for him the conditions should be much more difficult and his body should be more hardened. At this moment, lightning strikes near the building where Chen was located. Chen notices that these are the 9 seals of Xian. Chen grins at this information. A man runs into the building and notices that he managed to do it. The man adds that the seal cost a huge mark on the printing site. The man notices that heavenly rank is truly a powerful seal. Chen, with a serious face, suggests that this could be the case, but after combining 3 or more skilled cultivators, the seal can be dispelled. Chen thinks in his mind that he might have a bad feeling about Chen. The man adds that the academy needs people and offers his candidacy. Chen was slightly surprised by this statement. The man states that since childhood he had a dream to work for the glory of the Great Quan Academy. Chen asks for unparalleled loud statements. I notice that they really need people and he can calmly stay. The man states that he really wants to stay and continue working. Chen adds that he granted this seal to him and the man must contribute to the Quan Academy. The man confirms the master's words and also wishes the well-being of the Quan Academy. The guy folds his fingers and decides in this case to perform a small ceremony. Chen gives the man another seal with which he will have to work. Chen asks the man to help him finish the markings during the day and then he will receive the seal. The man begins to study the document and notice that he is very lucky that the guy trusts him. Chen adds with a grin that since the man wants to stay, he will have to pay for accommodation and he will only have enough materials to cover all his expenses. The man was amazed at this statement. He had no idea how much the guy would need his material. Chen takes out another document from his inner pocket and states that they will need to prepare a training course for Dan Dao cultivation. At this moment, Tong enters the hall with a request to give him this document. He was ready to give all his elixirs to help Chen. The man was outraged by this and also wanted to take the documents. The man pushes Tong away with the statement that he can do everything himself without anyone's help. Chen notes that Tong was waiting for him outside and was already planning to start a conversation with him. In addition to all the problems, the guy understands that he needs talented people for decent education, and also to find more students to create a school. The guy noticed that he had no idea when the old man would come with his granddaughter and when, after Tai's conversion, Yin would become a saint, because there was an empty space in the heavenly deities. At this moment, Li comes to Chen and calls him the boss. The guy stops and remembers that now Chen is not for him. The guy apologizes to Chen and corrects himself that he is now the great master. Li adds that Lao is looking for him. Chen takes the guy by the hands and explains that he still remained his reliable friend. Chen adds that he remained the same guy he knew who was expelled with him. Chen assumes that his body is from the Chen clan and the guy is his brother. The guy believes that something has changed in Chen and he should have been the same as him. Holding Li's shoulder, Chen noted that in the past they were together the scum of the academy and were considered trash. Chen believed that everything had changed and now they were much larger than Li thought. Li was very puzzled by the fact that only 3 spiritual veins had opened in him and now he would not get the Tao relic. Chen asks why the guy wants to get just a Tao relic. Chen takes the guy outside and shows him the sky. Chen believes that he can achieve much more than he thinks. Chen explains that all over the world some people have the Holy Spirit, but now it is completely useless since no one can reveal it. Chen points his finger at the guy and explains that the same Holy Spirit is hidden in Li, which does not explain that there were only 3 people in the world who knew how to reveal the Holy Spirit and one of them was him. Li wonders why he has the Holy Spirit within him and how he should reveal it. Chen explains that he can create a flame that will reveal his spirit after taking his form. With a serious look, Chen adds that if he fails, he will die. Li then became a little subdued out of fear for his life. With a shaking hand, the guy immediately began to think about everything and believes that this is his only way to catch up with the boss. Li states that he is willing to try and risk his life for this. Chen puts his hand on his brother's shoulder and is happy for his decision. Chen moves aside with the statement that he needs to prepare the elixir and after that they will continue. If you notice anything, he needs to go to the sunset forest for the grass of the extinguished flame. Chen noted that he had not been there for a very long time and did not know how much the forest had changed. Chen goes to the sunset forest to get the necessary herbs. Chen walks carefree through the forest, heading to the right place. At this moment, unknown people surround him from all sides. Chen notices that they look like ordinary Badiugans who kill for treasure. The largest group of attackers decides to address Chen with ridicule, believing that he is lost in their territory. Chen states that the man stood in his way, demanding that he get away from him. The unknown man begins to burst into laughter at such a statement. The man starts poking the guy in the forehead, demanding that so and so give them all his valuables, otherwise he will pay. Chen says with a grin that the guy has terrible manners, adding that he is very poor. The men immediately decide to attack the guy. Chen activates his cultivation ability and fights back the man. A sword flies from the robber's back. It pierces the man's chest and stops for something. Chen mockingly asks if the man would still like to rob him. The man does not understand what kind of unusual attack came to his back. All the robbers turn around and wonder who dared to attack them. The man with the sword declares that he is from the Xinjiang sect and no one in front of him has the right to kill anyone. The man notices that he just wanted to rob the guys and did not expect that a student of some sect would attack him. The man, not wanting to continue the fight, steps aside and declares that he is lucky. Chen, with folded hands, notices that in fact it was the man and his gang who were lucky, because they don't know at all what strength he has. The disciples of the Xian sect are wondering if the guy is okay or if they received any injuries. Chen remembers that this sect is located 3 miles from the forest and he does not understand what they are doing to you in this place. Disciple Xian, with folded hands, wonders how the guy came up with the idea to visit this forest alone, because he could have died at the hands of hunters or the paws of monsters. The man indignantly walks away to say goodbye to his companion. Chen noticed that in fact the man was quite arrogant towards the others. The guy notices that there are actually quite a lot of monsters and animals in sight, and there is even a local demon king. At this moment, Chen hears a strange scream from behind him. Chen was amazed by what he saw. A very terrible picture was visible. The guy watches as a small group of students decide to fight the demon. The eldest among all the group members cuts the demon with his abilities. The swordsman of the Xian sect is interested in why they are trying to stop him. Chen silently observes this whole situation, realizing that since one demonic bull of green flame appeared in front of them, then there are others nearby. Beck falls to the ground exhausted, which seems like an absolute victory to Xian students. But at this moment, a herd of demonic green flame bulls attacks the small group. Xian's disciples don't understand where so many demonic oxen came from. The whole group decides to quickly leave this place. Chen notices that in the middle of the entire herd of demonic blocks there is a leader. Chen decides that since these people helped him, he is ready to help them in return. Chen wonders why they are doing this. The entire group immediately turns to him, demanding that he leave the place. The group's swordsman declares that everyone should leave the place. He planned to delay the bulls while they escape. Chen comes closer to the swordsman and declares that he has a kind heart but a dirty mouth and sooner or later he will be rewarded. In the face of the teaching, one demonic bull appears and stands on its hind legs. Chen notices that everyone in this flock is planning to use the magical ability of demonic beasts. Chen uses cultivation and decides to fight the demonic bull standing in his way. Xian's disciples could not believe what they saw, because the guy was trying to collect true qi into a sphere. Enveloping this golden flame, the group could not believe what they saw because it was a terrifying force. Chen folds his hands and notes that cultivation alone is not enough for him to win. The swordsman asks the guy to stop and stop doing this. The swordsman again decides to cover the guy and demands that he leave because they will not be able to detain the bulls for long. With a grin, Chen wonders why the group decided to panic so suddenly. The huge bull stood in front of Chen's face and did not look into his eyes. Chen reapplies cultivation and makes a golden sphere in his palms. I then use your strength against the bull and the most important bull soullessly falls in front of him, which greatly amazes the swordsman. The group was greatly amazed that the guy knew the Thousand Beast technique. Everyone noticed the incredible power of the Thousand Stars sect disciple. Chen abruptly begins to run away. I notice that he is not very good at taming a herd of rabid animals and therefore should leave the place as soon as possible. The swordsman wonders what will happen if they don't have time to leave. Chen adds with a serious face that then they will have only one road to the next world. The group, including Chen, go deep into the forest and hear strange sounds of demonic bulls. In the whole group it seems that they will still have to fight back. After all, they have no other choice. Chen reassures everyone because it's safe here, and I'm only like this within a radius of about 5 miles, and they covered the whole 100 miles. Less of them are interested in how the guy managed to count the miles all this time while they were running. The main group admired the guy's skill. Chen adds that this is the basis of the basics and now they are deep in the forest where they are safe. The whole group thanks them for saving them, because without the guy's help they were already dead. Chen notices that the demonic bulls are in the depths of the forest, and the students were in the wrong place at the wrong time. The guy assumes it's just a coincidence. At this moment, Chen sharply smelled the smell of blood. There was a picture in front of him. Several corpses were lying near food supplies and they were surrounded by demonic beasts. The entire corpse was completely drained of blood. Chen immediately noticed that there was absolutely no blood in the pipe. Chen immediately realized that this was the work of a witch whom he had to finish off. Chen noticed that he has not been in the forest for quite a long time and everything is happening around him. There is Chen observing the situation as the girl stands surrounded by several people. The girl declares that she does not have magical abilities and it was not she who killed the people lying behind. Men mockingly note that the killer never admits to his crimes. The girl adds that any good does not exist without evil and therefore she was ready to bear responsibility for any of her actions. The girl wonders if they want to scare her with force. All the bandits simultaneously decide to attack the girl in order to kill her. Chen closely followed what happened and was amazed at this decision. Chen begins to slowly descend towards the girl, adding that now it is their turn to die. At that moment, an unknown red-haired guy with a malicious smile was also approaching. The guy slowly moved towards the girl. The guy asked his sister to stop talking to hollow hypocrites. He had the face of a frightening, unbalanced robber. Chen noticed that the guy was also strong and mastered demonic techniques. I note that most of the lifeless bodies located near the girl were his work. The girl asked the man not to interfere. The robbers also noted that this was another girl and did not want to give the girl to him. The guy decides to use his power and save the girl. All the robbers immediately fall to their knees and in agony feel the blood being pumped out of them. Chen observing the whole incident, he understands that most of the cultivators who used such techniques turned into demons and made bloodthirsty killers. The girl, unable to continue watching the torment of the robbers, tries to save them with her techniques. The girl decides to tell the guy that demonic techniques have a fine line between good and evil, but she was not going to give the guy the right to kill innocent people. The guy suddenly finds himself next to the girl and smiles maliciously at your face. With a grin, he decides to find out if his sister will contradict him. The girl did not have time to understand how the guy managed to approach her so quickly. Without any further regrets, he uses this technique on his sister, sucking the blood out of her. The guy begins to concentrate a blood clot from his sister in his hand. With a mockery, he decides to clarify with his sister how he feels after everything that has happened. The guy also switches to others, sucking them dry along the way. The guy calls himself Mo's student and he was very angry that the girl imagined herself innocent. The guy adds that from the moment the girl crossed the threshold of the sect, she immediately became a demon. The guy stops and lets the girl go. He notices that all this innocence and goodwill is disturbing her. The girl explains that she is not like him and as soon as she can find religion for us, she will immediately begin to exterminate all possible demons. The guy notices that even though the girl plans to destroy all the demons that they own, this is not just an ordinary toy. The girls will not be able to defeat them so easily. The guy laughs and decides to let the girl go, saying that he hopes to see her in the future. Chen at this moment, listening to the conversation, grins. Chen notes that it is not surprising to him that the Xian sect is so far away, because exactly where he is now is another sect. Chen comes up with a plan to catch one demon and use it as cannon fodder to practice his limitless techniques. The guy thinks that he is planning a fun trip in the near future. Chen continues on his way with a laugh. Stopping on one of the trees, the guy assumes that he is there. Chen observes a gathering of several sects, where there was a large crowd of people. One of the elders notices that there are demons and their legacy in this place. Another elder confirms that they should not act rashly before the demons arrive. Chen, being above all this performance, does not hear what they are talking about. At this moment, one of the demons approaches the crowd. The red-haired guy asks to allow the demon sect to take away the deity's legacy. The whole crowd notices that the best disciple of the Mazong sect. Several men decide to attack him with the aim of killing him. At this moment, a voice is heard asking how they want to take the life of his best student. The man lands on the ground with a purple glow around him. The unknown person looks at the crowd calling them simple insects without a drop of power. After taking off their cloak, everyone notices the elder of the Mazong sect, ML Shintian. The crowd was amazed to see such a powerful demon. The elders did not understand how Mo could get to them. Chen, still watching from above, noticed that the rising sun relic was beginning to open. suggesting that Mozong had only sent one heavenly nine. Mo begins to feel that someone from outside is watching him and is nearby. The cutting man uses his seal and points it towards Chen with the goal of killing the peeping Tom. Chen realizes with a grin that the demon was able to detect him. Chen immediately uses a protective seal against Mo's attack. Chen completely absorbed the man's attack and was not hit in any way. Mo is amazed by such a strong defensive technique, because the guy completely absorbed his attack. Chen decides to climb down from the tree and come closer. Chen introduces himself as a High Lord. Those present were surprised by this statement. One of the elders did not believe that this was the same Chen who placed the seal on him. The man declares that he will destroy Chen and his worthless academy. Chen reminds that Chen's life is in his hands and he can end it at any moment. Mo notices that Chen stands out from the others and behaves quite strangely. Chen reminds that 3 days have already passed. After the end, he will personally come after his soul and destroy Quan. Student Mo, not wanting to listen to any more chatter, decides to attack the crowd with his technique. Chen effortlessly uses a small blocking seal. Chen stood with a serious face and the seal activated. Mo's disciple's technique had no effect on him. Chen wonders if the guy cares about heavenly confrontations, because it seems to him that he doesn't understand anything at all. The guy mockingly asks what the guy is talking about, because he is hiding his energy. Disciple Mo's face changes dramatically upon seeing Chen's full power. Chen, being under his technique, explains that this is the basics of cultivation and the guy should not neglect his life, noticing that the guy's hands are already stained with blood. All the people present were amazed by such a serious seal, because it was lost thousands of years ago. Disciple Mo demands that Chen move. Mo also wonders if the guy plans to add anything else. Chen notes with a grin that the couple is very arrogant and they look at him like an insect. Unable to tolerate Chen any longer, Student Mo activates his fire technique in an attempt to kill the guy. Chen notices that the guy managed to see heavenly sorrow, but this student is not able to kill him. Chen sharply strikes a series of lightning bolts directly at Mo's disciple's body. The guy's whole face is covered in blood and there is nothing left. Mo was horrified by what he saw, because his student was strong and no one had been able to defeat him before. One of the guys in the crowd remarked that Chen was devilishly strong for them. Mo decides to bow down to Chen with the desire to become the guy's faithful assistant. Chen accepts the man's help, calling him his servant. Chen adds that otherwise he will end up like his student. The elders were outraged by this situation, because the great demon Mo became his slave. Mo decides to make several wounds on his face and swear by the heavens that he will follow Chen to the very end. Chen receives Mo's vow and adds that he likes people like the man. Chen takes the oath and activates it. The guy in his thoughts believes that this trip was not in vain, because he acquired a good servant under his command. Chen, without waiting for the elders to come to their senses, rushes towards them. The elders begin to blame him for what happened in unison, threatening him with all sorts of consequences. Chen explains that for him there is no good or bad and therefore is not going to do all the work of a demon in the name of the righteous path. The elders add that if Chen kills Mo, they will be able to close their eyes to what happened. All the elders continue to shout after Chen and accuse him of demonic deeds. With a grin, the guy notes that even though he defeated the demon, he doesn't care much. Chen finally decides to do one demonic thing. With an ominous look, he looked at the crowd and invited them to find out what exactly he planned to do. One of the elders introduces himself as the deputy elder of the Wuj sect with a proposal to stop all this chaos, otherwise, the guy will have big problems with the Wuj sect. Chen clarifies whether he should regard this as a threat towards him. The man adds whether the guy remembers what the Quan Academy is capable of in comparison with the Wuj sect. The deputy explains that he only needs to wave to destroy everything. The guy says he doesn't like killing, but he has to. Chen clarifies whether Mo can kill everyone who interferes with him with just one order. Mo nods approvingly in response. All the elders and the crowd who found them took up their swords. Mo abruptly gets to the deputy elder and makes a hole in his head. Without having time to do anything, the deputy soullessly falls to the ground. The remaining elders declare that the deputy is already dead and if he continues, there will be no turning back. Chen decides to give another order to Mo and defeat everyone present without exception. Mo, without further ado, agrees to carry out his master's orders. Mo did not understand why Chen so easily gave orders to take the lives of all people present. The elders were amazed at this, because in their opinion it made no sense. Chen explains that they only have one option to resolve this situation. Chen asks Mo to get to work and he suddenly begins to approach the crowd. With a grin, Chen wonders if people feel doomed. Chen explains that he was instantly doomed to wander the heavens forever. Mo begins to approach the group that helped the guy earlier. They couldn't believe that Chen could kill them too. Chen decides to stop Mo and asks him to move away from this group of people. The group could not understand why the guy had changed so much and could easily kill a crowd of people. Chen asks them to hurry, because he will grant them salvation. What saved them was when they decided to help him. Chen noted that he needed to let go of the people who helped him earlier. The group could not believe that Chen decided to let them go and not touch them. Mo approaches his master and adds that this group will definitely spill the beans about what happened today. Chen asks not to think about it, because it doesn't matter to him. Mo silently listens to the master without contradicting his decision. Mo reminds them that the rising sun relic will appear soon and they should prepare as the other sects are already approaching. Chen asks Mo to help him collect the extinguished flame herb. The guy, in turn, planned to do everything alone. Chen jumps back onto the same tree from which he appeared at the first meeting. Chen, looking into the distance, understood that the relic of the rising sun would soon appear to him. Half an hour later, a crowd of people arrives at the relic. All the masters and elders of the other sects were outraged by what happened. The former elder of the Sheng sect noted that the elders were overcome by a man possessed by demonic power. The group approaching the masters explains that it was a man on the demon's path. They immediately recount the incident in detail while waiting for help. Hearing Chen's name, everyone was amazed that a little-known master could do this. One of the masters introduces the group as his students who are incapable of lying. Former sect elder Sheng wonders where exactly this Chen went. Chen, unable to wait any longer, jumps from the tree and introduces himself along the way. Having landed, Chen notices that he is currently in the right place for himself. Chen also adds that he really shouldn't have let this group go. All three begin to accuse the guy of betrayal and cold-blooded murder. The elders and masters, unable to continue the meaningless conversation, attack Chen in a group. Chen, without further ado, decides to immediately use his great seal of protection. After defending, Chen immediately goes on the attack and uses another seal. All the masters were amazed by such power. Chen stands silently near the strange monument and looks at the crowd. The monument begins to cast its infinite seal. The seal consisted of numerous cultivating circles. All masters notice that their spiritual strength is leaving them. Chen explains that this is the effect of the rising sun relic and that is why all their skills are now unavailable and their spiritual power is sealed. All the masters were depressed at the moment, but they still plan to destroy the guy. Chen, enveloped in flames, notices that he is still alive, adding that his opponents were less fortunate and did not have very long left. All the masters were amazed that it had no effect on the guy. Chen activates his seals and begins to attack all the masters. Chet flies between people at high speed, hitting everyone. Chen tears one after another without any regret. Chen continues to cut down all the masters and ordinary students. Chen counts every master he has killed. All the masters could not believe what they saw. They were helpless against Chen's background. Former master Shen couldn't believe what he saw. One of the masters asks the guy to stop, because they were not going to die for some relic. Chen mockingly explains that they don't have long left and the guy just wanted to warm up. Chen flies at great speed past another crowd. The guy continues to cut every person he meets along the way. There are two people left alive who immediately begin to ask for Chen's forgiveness. Chen explains that not everyone can become his servant and in the end they should be more patient. Chen asks with a grin what they want to offer him in exchange for his life. Former Master Shen asks to be spared, because he was ready to sell his life for freedom. Chen hits the guy with a beam of light, explaining that he is not interested in this. The former master falls soullessly at Chen's feet. The man could not believe what had happened. Chen goes to the remaining master and clarifies what he can offer him. The master bows to Chen and declares that he will provide the services of his Wuj sect. Chen offers to enter into a contract with the master of the Wuj village. Chen puts two fingers and puts a seal on him. Chen turns around and once again allows the Xian sect group to leave. Master Wuj reminds that the relic of the sun has already appeared and Chen can take it for himself. Chen decides to clarify what Master Wuj's specialty is. The master notices that he is unable to read the guy's thoughts, sensing his strong inner strength. Chen demands that the man hurry up, because he still needs to get into the demonic world. Chen returns to the mountains of Quan Academy. Elder Mo wonders why his master keeps beating him. Chen reminds them that they came for a demonic-level relic. Mo wonders if he can do nothing for this relic. Chen explains that everything he has given to Mo is a gift from fate. Chen adds that since the man is not going to, he can give him relief. The man stands up abruptly and clarifies what kind of relief the master is talking about. Chen notices that the seal is broken and the man is not ready for work today. At this moment, an old man comes into the city with his granddaughter and asks to meet with Chen. Jian explains to the walking Chen that the old man broke their barrier. Chen was glad that they still came to his sect. The guy was amazed that the man managed to break the barrier for the sake of the meeting. The old man apologized for the inconvenience and still asks that his granddaughter be healed. Chen explains that everything is fine, because he is only interested in paying for the damage. The old man and the girl were amazed that the guy demanded payment from them. Chen screams and explains how much he spent on building this shield. The old man laughs and adds that he apologized for what happened. The old man takes off his ring and asks him to accept this as repayment. All subordinates were amazed at the high cost of this stone. Chen was of little interest in this, because he had spent much more. The old man, scratching his beard, offers 3 million as payment, guessing that this will be enough. All subordinates could not resist such large sums. Moving away from what he heard, Chen decides to clear his throat. Chen also reminds us that the conditions regarding the girl remain the same. All subordinates were amazed that the guy wanted to get an innocent girl. The girl declares that she does not want to listen to this nonsense. Chen adds that thanks to her appearance, she can become a maid or his student. The old man clarifies what a guy can teach a girl, because he doesn't even know her ability. Leaving for his estate, Chen says that he is ready to give everything she needs. The old man explains to his granddaughter that it is worth being ashamed all your life rather than dying so proudly. The girl agrees with her grandfather. The girl understands that if her father finds out about this, the academy may end. An old man and a girl enter the hall. After finishing his shower, Chen goes out to the meeting. Putting on his shirt, Chen wonders what their decision was all about. The girl was amazed by the guy's body. The old man states that they agree to the terms. The girl noticed the guy's muscular body in her thoughts, adding that he was the most attractive man in her entire life. Chen decides to enter into a contract with the girl for further work together. The girl nods shyly. The guy puts his index finger to the girl's forehead. Chen looks away towards the old man. Chen explains that they entered into a contract, but in the future the man will have to leave the premises to dispel the poison. Chen urges the man to leave his hall. The old man agrees and walks out the door. Chen closes the door behind the old man as he leaves. Chen is left alone with the girl and looks intently at her. Chen suggests that the girl start as soon as possible. The girl sheepishly asks if the guy plans to start right now. Chen, without further ado, immediately demands that the girl undress and lie down on the bed. The girl was very confused by this, but she clarified what the treatment was. Chen silently looks at the girl, not understanding what we are talking about. Holding her face, Chen explains that without clothes it will be easier for him to detect Yin in her body. Voices are heard outside the door reminding that the 10 days have already expired. The old man decides to add that he will help the academy while it is healing his granddaughter. Chen agrees approvingly and looks at the girl. The girl is trying to calm herself down because of what is happening, because she just needs to undress and lie on the bed. The girl calms herself down, because this is being done for the sake of her life. The girl agrees with the decision to undress, but adds that if the guy dares to do something, then she will not leave a wet spot. Chen notes that all the women in his life were so problematic. The girl takes off her robe and looks away in embarrassment. Her robe lay at her feet. The girl slowly walked towards the bed. Chen, looking at the girl, noticed that her parents did their best. The guy slowly looked over the girl's chest. Without taking his eyes off, he also examined the girl's perfect waist. The girl embarrassedly begins to cover herself with her hands, because Chen was looking at her intently. Covering her face, Chen agrees that they should start treating her. Chen takes the girl by the hand and accompanies her to the bed. Chen puts the girl on the bed, which makes her very embarrassed. Chen explains that first he will find a vein through which Yin flows. Chen touches the girl's skin and begins to run his fingers. The girl asks the guy to do it as quickly as possible. Chen lowers himself to the girl's stomach, to which she says that the guy has cold hands. Chen carefully examines the girl's body and eventually finds the source of the problem. Chen stops in the abdominal area and presses on the desired point. This confuses the girl greatly, which is why he screamed slightly. The girl noted that her body was very cold. Chen continued to look at the girl lying in front of him. The girl felt a strong cold throughout her body, from which she could not help herself. Chen asks the girl not to move while he works. The girl in her thoughts asked the guy to do it as quickly as possible, because she felt too cold. The girl asks the guy if he is finished with the equipment. Chen declares that he has already completed the most difficult part and only a little work remains. The girl clarifies why he is still standing, because they have already finished. The guy silently leaves the room. Coming out into the street, Chen is immediately greeted by the girl's old man. The old man immediately clarifies how everything went, because the girl was the only heiress of the city of Baidi. Chen stands in front of the old man and explains that everything went well. The old man explains that the Xing group came from the mountain gate to destroy Quan, but fortunately for them everything went smoothly. Chen believes that they are a group of clowns who have fallen into an obvious trap. A girl came out into the street and greeted her grandfather. The man immediately inquired about her well-being. The girl explains that she no longer feels the cold and an unusual surge of strength. In her thoughts, the girl called Chen a kind man who saved her life. The old man explains that there was a serious illness that even her grandfather could not cope with. The man asks the girl to obey Chen in everything from now on. The girl bows to her grandfather and thanks him for his support. In his thoughts, the old man did not understand where this guy had come from and managed to heal his granddaughter. The man adds that he was absent from the city for a long time due to his granddaughter's illness and therefore he will go back to Baidi. Chen explains that the man should pay to study and live here. Chen assumed that the man would remain at his academy. The man could not understand why the guy demanded to pay for everything. Chen hovered over the old man and asked why this put him in a stupor. After all, he saved the girl from Yin and demanded legal payment for his services. Chen added that they would have to pay 10,000 spiritual stones for daily living and training. The man agrees and rises into the sky. He asks to wait for the first payment in a few days. Chen was outraged that the old man left without paying a single stone. At this moment, a meeting was held in the Wuj sect at which a small group decided to tell their master about what had happened. One of the elders noted that the group was released according to them because of Chen's early help. The group tries to explain that this is all true and they survived by a miracle. They claimed that Chen became a demon and forced Mo to kill all the people there. A girl from the group tearfully stated that even the fact that he spared them does not make Chen human. The master said that this empty chatter was enough. The man stands up and states that the Xian sect will handle the incident this time. The man adds that he sent the dove to his allies to help them attack Quan. The man believes that Master Chan will pay for what happened with his blood. One of the group's survivors states that Chen is a devil's spawn, deserving only pain and suffering. Another lightning strikes the Academy Mountain. Chen wonders why Mo is shaking so much, because this is just training. Mo asks to wait for a while because in just 2 days he dies 3 to 4 times a day. Chen sits on the ground to meditate. Chen asks Mo to be an obedient dog and he will receive his reward. Once again, lightning strikes the ground near Mo. Mo notices that Chen kills him too often and he does not have time to prepare. The entire academy watches as lightning strikes once again between Chen and Mo. Everyone sees Mo starting to scream in flames due to the strong glow. All of Chen's associates do not dare to approach immediately. Everyone was interested in what kind of screams they just heard, assuming that it was Master Chen who was shouting. Everyone immediately came to the rescue and began to fuss around the guy. At this moment, Mo lay exhausted in a small crater. The man was outraged that no one even bothered to ask how he was feeling, because he was the only one struck by lightning. Jiao notices that the lightning strike was not weak and is interested in Mo's condition. Wiping the blood from his mouth, Chen decides to take a short break between training sessions. The girl was surprised by what she saw. She did not understand what exactly she saw at that moment. A huge pillar of lightning strikes in front of the people. A large cloud of dust rose into the air. Everyone was worried about Master Chen's condition. Everyone was intently trying to examine the master's body in the dust, assuming that the master had completely disappeared. The girl notices a silhouette sitting on the floor, which greatly amazed her. Chen sat calmly on the ground, enveloped in yellow flames. The guy decides to use his technique at this moment. Everyone was amazed by Chen's skill. The girl comes closer and invites the master to do everything gradually and without the desire for quick success. The guy explains that he already does everything gradually, but an order of magnitude faster, which is why he is 7 steps ahead of everyone. At this moment, Lee comes running with a statement that they have big problems. Chen asks what happened to him. Lee explains that people had gathered at the foot of the mountain demanding payment for the loss of the master. Jiao is surprised and wonders how the great master of the kingdoms could die. Chen stands up and decides to handle the situation personally. Chen states that, unfortunately, what he heard is true. Everyone who did not take part in the battle was surprised by what they heard. Chen, with a serious face, understands that the 10 strongest cultivators came to say a few kind words to him, since they really hated Chen. Tong could not believe that the master provoked the strongest by calling him immortal. Jiao declares that now is not the time to joke because their seal is still broken and they are without protection. Chen wonders if the girl is scared being next to the man who started this whole mess. The girl asks if Chen is addressing her. Jiao talks with other masters and by common decision they decide to send the girl with Chen. Chen declares with a smile that if everything is so interesting, then they will all be able to see what happened. The great cultivators stood by and demanded that Chen surrender immediately or else they would destroy their entire academy. Chen comes closer and wonders whether he needs to pay with his life. The master calls Chen a demon, because it was he who killed good people without any regret. The man demands that Chen surrender. Chen explains that her teacher needs clean hands, to which the girl explains that she will solve this problem herself. The masters are carefully watching what is happening. Everyone begins to mock that Chen sent the girl to negotiate. They did not believe that the girl would be able to cope with them. The girl stands in front of the masters and demands that they close their mouths. The girl looked towards the cultivators with an evil gaze. All the cultivators continued to mock the girl, not believing that she could give them any resistance. The girl decides to demonstrate her strength to such weak cultivators. Pink flames rose around the girl. The girl demanded that the cultivators bow their heads before her feet. The cultivators still did not believe in the girl's strength. They believed that the bright glow would not be able to defeat them. The girl puts her hand in front of her, demanding that they shut up. The entire angry crowd rushed towards the girl. The girl's strength clashed in battle with several experienced cultivators. The masters standing behind called the girl pathetic. They believed that her pathetic strength would not be enough to stop them. In the middle of the battle, a huge glow flashed. This greatly amazed the master, which he considered impossible. The girl with a serious face said that masters have no right to open their mouths. The girl decides to attack the remaining cultivators. They all begin to writhe in pain. The cultivators did not understand where the girl got such powerful techniques. The girl comes closer and explains that for such powerful techniques one must know the absolute power of qi. The girl with a serious face notes that even though they call themselves cultivators, the true energy of these people is too worthless against her. Chen shouts to the girl to come back after such a game. Jiao notices the girl's greatness. The girl turns her back to the masters and heads back to the academy. All the cultivators were amazed that just one girl had defeated all 9 great cultivators. They had no idea what to do against such a powerful force. Chen decides to turn to the wounded cultivators. Everyone also pays attention to the guy. All cultivators decide to leave the battlefield as quickly as possible. The master noted that he was not ready to leave everything so easily. He planned to return in the future and take revenge. One of the cultivators comes closer to the master and whispers something to him. The man's face changes to madness. He allows Chen to leave and remain alive. The girl approaches Master Chen with a statement that she is finished. The girl added that she had been observing lightning techniques and decided to ask the master to teach her too. The girl explains that she doesn't really know what she would like to study, so she asks the master to decide it for her. Chen, with a serious face, states that it is not that he does not want to teach. Chen ends it by saying that the old man still hasn't paid for the girl's accommodation. The girl was very angry and wanted to hit the guy. Chen begins to analyze today and realizes that the girl is his only trump card. The guy thinks that he should increase his strength as soon as possible. 10 days later, Chen continued to train and hone all his skills. While meditating, the guy notices that people who want to increase their physical strength concentrate in 9 drops of blood. Chen points out that he was able to achieve a concentration of 35 drops of blood, and if he creates another drop, his physical strength will reach its limit and he will reach a monstrous level of power. Jiao comes to Chen with a statement about inviting the Wuj sect to a banquet where only respected persons of the sects will be present. Chen, not wanting to visit such places, asks Jiao to attend the banquet. Jiao explains that this is a respected event that also raises the status of the sect. Chen asks to go and notify Fun and Li so that they can gather with him. Zhao noticed that Li had grown greatly in strength over the past few days and it would not hurt for him to go out into the world. Chen decides to leave and agrees with Zhao. Master Chen adds that he will teach him everything to raise the reputation of their academy. The next day, Chen goes with Fun and Li to the banquet. The girl clarifies why the master's face was so gloomy. Chen explains that he did not take the girl because of her beauty or strength. The guy invited the girl just for company. At the entrance of Qingyun City there were several cultivators, one of whom was interested in Chen Li killing his master. The man calls Chen the devil, simultaneously wondering what exactly happened in the forest. Chen notices that in front of him is the same group of defeated people. He asks Fun to go to the banquet, because her ears may wither from such conversations. The girl decides to explain to the guy that she is already a grown lady. Chen asks Fun to stop saying such things and not to insult the word. Chen, without further ado, decides otherwise to leave Fun to resolve this issue. Chen and Li go to the banquet, leaving the girl with the cultivators. The girl was very outraged by the guy's behavior. The girl could not understand why the guy did this to her. The girl was surprised to see such a powerful force in front of her. The girl decides to act quickly and pushes off from the ground and heads towards the cultivators. Fun did not understand why such pitiful cultivators decided to disturb them again. The girl notices that Chen also started a fight with someone. Chen manages to take Li away to the side. Having moved to a safe distance with Li, the guy lowers him to the ground. Chen falls to one knee and sees an unknown cultivator in front of him. Chen notices that there is powerful qi in front of him, which he could not ignore and not try. The unknown person, without further ado, decides to launch an attack using all his might. Chen manages to use one of his techniques that blocks all attacks. The man attacks Chen, unable to break through his barrier. The man attacks Chen again, touching his artifact. The blow of an unknown master lands on Chen's hair. Chen was a little shocked by such a powerful attack, but at the last moment he manages to dodge. Li calls out to Chen, warning him of an impending attack. In the place where Chen was sitting before, a huge trace of lightning remains. The unknown person, being at full strength, declares that Chen will not be able to avoid death. Chen decides to call Fun for help. The unknown man, gritting his teeth, notes that he knows this girl. The girl quickly arrives to protect her master. Without further ado, the girl covers Master Chen with her technique. The girl asks if her master is okay. Chen replies approvingly that he is fine. The unknown man, after carrying out several attacks, understands that it will not be easy for him against the girl and therefore the murder of Chen is postponed to the next time. The man pushes off the ground and quickly leaves the scene of the fight. Chen and Fun watch the unknown cultivator fleeing. The girl decides to follow the unknown cultivator, but Chen stops Fun and says that they have arrived in the city for a banquet. Chen adds that they should attend this banquet, because they are late. One of the masters stood at the entrance and greeted Master Chen. The master quietly warns Chen to be careful, because they are being hunted. Chen, with a serious expression on his face, declares that he managed to feel it. The master stated that he had already sent several cultivators to patrol the outskirts of the city and therefore Chen's life was not in danger. Chen decides to check with the master to see if he knows who was behind this attack. The man explains that he assumes those same 3 academies are behind everything, but this was not confirmed information. Chen, accompanied by the master, slowly enters the hall where the banquet itself was held. All the guests looked closely at the guy. One of the cultivators asks Chen to go to the 2nd floor, to which the guy immediately agrees. The 2 men sitting at the table were outraged that a pathetic sect was invited to such a respected banquet. The man explains that it was the Wuj sect that organized this banquet and they decide who should attend the banquet. The cultivator shouted at the men, asking them to be quiet and more appropriate. The man explains that his master is on the 2nd floor and this is his personal order. All the guests noticed that the Wuj sect had an ally, Quan, and therefore their status would be increased today. All the guests immediately relaxed since Master Wuj allowed Chen to be present. One of the masters decides to clarify what the prize for the banquet will be this year. A cultist from the Wuj sect explains that their sect has been preparing the prize for this year for a long time. The cultist adds that the main prize of today's banquet will be a drop of Qilin blood. Chen himself reacted to the words about the Qilin bloody drop. One of the masters asks everyone to calm down, since this is just Qilin's shelter. All the cultivators present were amazed that the Wuj sect was able to obtain such a valuable artifact. Chen knew that Qilin was a mythical creature that no one had ever been able to defeat in this world. Chen begins to yawn, noticing that there's no point in making so much noise, because it's just a hybrid. Chen adds that if Li takes a bath with a drop of Qilin blood, his body will become stronger to the perfect level. Chen noted that the guy should get the drop himself, because he is much stronger than him even now. Li, perplexed, agrees to take part. With a smile, Chen noted that from his training he could not help Li, but he had become an order of magnitude stronger even without him. All the cultivators asked Master Wuj to start as soon as possible. The master decides not to torment the audience and starts drawing a drop. The man stands on the platform with the statement that everyone who wants to should also stand on the platform. The man offers to go to the platform of the first candidates. Chen wonders who dares to come out first, noticing in his mind that if Fan comes out, they will immediately win with her forces. The first person to come out is a cultivator from the Xian sect. It came as a surprise to many that 9 Taoist cultivators died in action. Chen noted that he let the guy go once, but he still wants to plunge a blade into his back. The guy declares that he wants to fight Li, which greatly amazed Chen. Chen is asked again whether the guy really wants to fight with Li, to which he receives a positive answer. Chen gives parting words to Li and asks him to save his energy as soon as he gets on the platform, because this is the most important thing in such battles. Li agrees with the boss. The guy declares that if he can defeat Li, then he will defeat Chen himself. Without further ado, Li enters the battlefield and hits the guy just once. The guy flies away at great speed, which greatly amazes the observing cultivators. The guy is slammed into one of the walls, which makes Li a little confused. Sect Master Xian was amazed by such a powerful technique. The guy noticed that his strength was rushing out and he defeated the guy without any effort. Chen adds that he will train Li upon his return. Chen asks for an additional round, noting that this is the strongest student of his academy. The master stands up with a statement that they have won only one duel and now the next one should be fought. On the battlefield, Li again defeats his opponent with just one blow. Master Xian couldn't understand how the guy could release his power without any effort. Li begins to worry, because his power continued to grow. He was worried that because of this he might kill someone, but Chen asked him to continue and not worry about it. Master Xian couldn't believe that they only had Lin left. The guy slowly climbed onto the field. The unknown cultivator decides to take out his blade. The guy declares that he has nothing personal towards Li, but he will definitely kill him. All the spectators noted that the strongest disciple of the Xian sect had entered the field. Li asks if he should continue fighting. Chen decides to give the guy a choice and suggests giving up, because it won't take much energy from him. The guy who was expecting the fight notices that Li has no choice and will not let him give up. The guy immediately attacks Li with his many attacks. One of the cultivators noted that this was a celestial dance of blades. The rest of the spectators were no less surprised by what was happening. Li notices that behind him an unknown swordsman is carrying out his series of blows. Li turns around and faces the swordsman. Concentrating and investing in his one blow, Li strikes the swordsman. The swordsman receives a blow directly in the chest, causing him to fly away like all the previous participants. An unknown swordsman lands near the audience. The man died from a strong blow, and a crowd of onlookers gathered around his body. Li didn't want to hurt the guy, because he only had to defend himself. Chen explains with folded hands that the guy, being dead, cannot blame him for what happened. All the cultists were outraged that Li killed one of Xian's disciples. Chen notes that Li was only defending himself and there is no need to punish his student, because Chen saw no reason for this. The master believes that there is no point in the existence of the Quan Academy. Chen offers to have a duel and find out which of them is truly a master. Chen gives the master a chance to prove himself. Fun and Li were shocked by this statement from Master Chen. Master Xian immediately begins to deny and refuse the need for battle. Chen notes that this is the only way he can defend the honor of the Quan Academy. At this moment, another cultist decides to enter the ring. The man decides to challenge Chen to a duel without further ado. Chen accepts the fight and also rises onto the field. Chen slowly lands in front of his opponent and examines him. Chen wonders why the man is so impatient to die. Li, being on the sidelines, believes that it is because of him that Chen will now be killed. The master explains that Chen is nothing of himself and only knows how to babble. Chen notes that only Master Xian still did not insult him publicly. Master Xian silently continues to watch the battle. Chen adds that the master is suitable for him as a mentor, because he is older and wiser than the guy and therefore undoubtedly superior in strength. The cultivators notice the truth in Chen's words. They also assume that Master Yang must be stronger than Chen. Master Yang states that he doesn't care what level of cultivation the guy has. The man suggests fighting at half strength so that they are approximately equal. Chen agrees to such a duel with a grin. Master Yang points his finger at the guy, wanting to ruin his life. Chen notices how self-confident Master Yang was. The guy wanted to defeat him as quickly as possible and remove this man's false hope. The start of the battle is announced. Cultivators assume that this battle will be much more interesting than others. Chen notes with ridicule that since the master is older, he is ready to give in to him and let him begin. Master Yang attacks with his blade, believing that Chen is impatient to give up his life. All the cultivators were amazed to see that same 5-leaf lotus sword. Many believed that Master Yang truly deserved to own it. Chen continued to stand calmly, waiting for the first step from Master Yang. All the cultivators were at a loss as to why Chen was standing still. They assumed that this would be a one-hit battle. Master Yang makes his first attack with blades, causing the entire field to become covered in a ball of dust. All the spectators believed that Chen was already dead and had no chance to survive. Master Yang mockingly thought that he was very sorry for killing Chen. Master Yang was amazed to see that Chen is in fact still alive without a single scratch. Chen asks Master Yang what exactly seems impossible in his opinion. The man could not understand how the guy managed to avoid his attack. Master Yang asks how many drops of blood the guy concentrated. With a grin, Chen asks to guess Master Yang. All the cultivators noticed that Chen's body was like a deity. Many began to guess how many drops of blood the guy had. Master Chen continued to carry out numerous attacks with his blade, believing that his sword was many times stronger than the guy. Chan stops in the moment, calling Master Yang a pitiful old man, wanting to show the man true strength. Chan pushes off the ground and quickly approaches the man. Chen suggests demonstrating actual strong cultivation. Master Yang could not believe what he saw, because the guy was a split second away from him. Chen runs his blade over Master Yang's body, causing him to begin to bleed. Having finished the fight, Chen slowly lands on the ground, waiting for the reactions of the audience. Chen emphasized with a grin that victory in the fight was his. All the cultivators were amazed that the guy was able to defeat such a strong Master Yang. At this moment, Clava Aliena enters the hall wanting to watch the fight. The man wanted to find a way to get the guy to fight with him. The Alliance Master can't think of anything better than just challenging the guy to a fair duel. The man did not understand who the guy thought he was, because he was challenged by the Master of the Alliance himself. Chen silently looks at the angry Alliance Elder. Chen accepts the fight and wishes to fight the elderly Master of the Alliance. The man looks at Chen silently. The guy wonders if it is recklessness to fight a master of superior strength. The man believes that people like Chen can only talk and elevate themselves to absolutes. The man begins to concentrate his strength around his hands. Chen notes that although he is a master, he also feels insulted. The guy does not understand what he did that made everyone hate him. The master calls his opponent a brat. Chen rises sharply and heads towards the place where Fun was. The guy invites his student to fight a weak master. Chen publicly asks his senior student to fight the elderly master in a fair fight. The man was outraged, because his target was Chen, and not some weak girl. Chen decides to interest the girl and remind her about the payment at the academy. The girl declares that even though the city of Baidi is rich, she will not be able to bear these expenses. The girl decides to go down from the podium and stand opposite the Alliance Master. The girl suggests starting the fight immediately and not delaying her. The man applies a seal from which he pushes towards the girl. A man screaming "Die" quickly approaches the girl. The girl, without any worries, activates her seal on her hand. The men are thrown several meters away from it towards the wall. The girl shakes off her palms and wonders how the man decided to raise his hand to such a beautiful lady. All the cultists continue to be surprised by such unexpected outcomes of events. The organizer of the entire arena wonders if anyone else will dare to enter the arena and try to defeat the girl. Master Xin, unable to endure further humiliation, decides to accept his defeat. Chen notes from the organizer that since no one wants to fight them, then they are full-fledged winners of this tournament. The man agrees and adds that in addition to the drop, he has another small gift for them. The man solemnly declares the Quan sect to be the 8th rank. Everyone was outraged by this statement, because rank 8 requires 3 Taoist cultivators, and Chen only has one of those. Many cultivators stated that they did not agree with the decision. One of the masters notes that a man should act according to the rules, and not the whims of Master Mu. Master Mu stands up and asks who thinks Quan Academy is undeserving. At this moment, Tong and other people from the Quan Academy enter the hall. They are interested in why people think that they have the same Taoist cultivator. Master Mu asks to greet Masters Tong and Lu. The Alliance Master was amazed that such respected people had arrived. Tong says that not long ago he and Lo joined the Quan sect and became part of the academy. The whole crowd began to ask with a solution, no one could say a clearer answer. Master Mu draws a conclusion and clarifies whether anyone has any objections to the issuance of the 8th rank to Quan Academy. Chen was glad that he managed to do this, for noticed that Chen is obsessed with money and thinks only about it. Chen explains to the girl that she does not understand his feelings, and as soon as they take the drop, they will immediately return to the sect. Master Tong and Lu continue to follow Master Chen, asking if they could also become his disciples. Stopping, Chen explains that the man's talents are not enough to teach him. Chen wonders why the unknown person continues to follow them. An unknown man stands in front of the sect and mocks them. The unknown person notices that the guy was born into the Zun family incapable of cultivation and that he has no future. Chen greets the unknown with a smile, calling him Ange. Chen asks Ange what business he has with his future. The man states that he was just curious to know what happened to Chen, but after that he states that he will kill the guy. The unknown immediately activates his technique around himself and Chen. Chen notices that it is a hidden dark seal, suggesting that it is an experienced mercenary using seals. The man adds that he will end Chen's life right there. Chen thinks with a grin that this is unlikely to happen to him. The unknown person adds that no matter how hard Chen tries, nothing will work out. At this moment, someone suddenly begins to break into the press, which the unknown person was distracted by. Mo's silhouette began to appear in the purple glow. The man notes that since the unknown person wants to kill Chen, he first needs to deal with him. Chen folds his hands and believes that an ordinary mercenary will not be able to kill Chen. Mo wonders if he needs to finish off the mercenary. Chen considers first finding out information about the customer. Mo, with dark energy, quickly approaches the mercenary. At that moment, the unknown person greatly frightened Mo of such a powerful cultivation. Mo tries to catch up with the mercenary in his purple glow. The mercenary is simultaneously attacked by Mo, trying to kill him. Mo successfully dodges all the attacks and gets fairly close to the mercenary. Mo grabs the unknown man and holds him with his technique. The unknown person asks Mo why he, being a master, obeys Chen. Mo was outraged that in the current situation the man was still trying to ask a question. Mo wonders who exactly sent him to hit Chen. The guy explains that if he tells this, he will become a traitor to Ange. The mercenary tries to concentrate his power in his hand. Having reached the level he needs, he applies his technique to his chest, which is why he begins to scream in severe pain. Mo was amazed that the guy gave his life so as not to become a traitor to Ange. Mo decides to report to his master that the mercenary has died. Chen explains that this is not a problem for him, because this is a feature of the Ange sect. Mo wonders what he should do next. Chen believes that he should restore the seal and place a barrier on the academy soon. Mo adds that he knows that the entire Ange sect consists exclusively of mercenaries and no one has any idea where their location is. Mo decides to return to Mozong to ask the demons for help. Chen asks Mo to find out all the information about Ange at the cost of his life. Chen wondered what kind of sect was trying to kill him. Mo suggests that Chen is not entirely serious about this matter. After all, they are the same small insects. Mo breaks off in front of Chen and decides to go straight to the forest. Mo adds that he will try to return as soon as possible. Mo asks to give him just 6 days to find out. Chen trips Mo, causing him to fall loudly. Chen reminds him that he still hasn't concentrated the 36th drop and Mo will have to help him with this. A tear appeared on Mo's face. The man asked for the help of the deities to endure all this torment. At this moment on the mountain, Quan Li continued to concentrate lightning in his hands. Chen noticed that Li was actively training while sitting nearby. At this moment, Chen gets to his feet, noticing that he was finally able to reach the maximum level of a drop of blood. Mo bows to the master and asks if he can finally go find out about the mercenaries. Chen states that Li's training is almost over and therefore Mo can be free. Chen asks Mo to call Fun to him to start training and study strength. Li began to strongly concentrate his power, causing flames to appear around him. Li closed his eyes tightly, sweat forming on his face. Li shouted sharply that he needed to help Chen. Li believed his power was out of control. Chen manages to put his hand on Li's shoulder, stopping what happened. Chen understood that if he had been late even for a minute, something irreparable could have happened. Chen tells his brother that everything is fine. Fun arrives and greets his master. The girl was outraged that Master Chen always sent Mo to her, but never came himself. Fun assumed that the guy was planning to start training her. Chen states that he planned to teach the girl the simplest and most basic techniques without which it would be impossible. Fun decides to invite the master to fight her. Chen pushes Li and explains that he will be Fun's opponent, because Li also had poor control of his power. Li decides to ask Chen whether the fight will be fair, because in his opinion the girl was an order of magnitude stronger than him. Fun was outraged that Li started complaining to Chen. The girl stops in a moment, noticing that she is in fact a lady, and it is not proper for a lady to shout over trifles. The girl turns to Li with a smile and asks how strong she is for him. Chen silently watched the girl's transformation. Li states that he does not want to fight Fun. Chen states that otherwise he will fight Li himself. Li worries that he might hurt the master with his unbridled power. Chen asks Li not to worry and still fight. Li finally agrees and decides to fight Chen. Li asks for forgiveness in advance if he hurts the master. The girl also emphasizes that she will fight at full strength. Chen listens to all the couple's statements with a grin. Chen approaches Li with great speed, noting that he agrees and they should start already. Chen hits Li with all his might, causing him to fly to the side. Li manages to get to his feet in a moment and hold on. The guy was amazed, because it seemed to him that Chen had hit him with an iron object. Chen explains that he uses nothing but his fists. Chen demands that Li show what he is capable of. Li decides to attack his teacher. Chen, without any pity, stops Li with his fist, causing him to fly to the side again. Li is slammed into the wall. Chen wonders if this is all that Li is capable of or not. Chen asks him to finish here and invites Li to go and heal his war wounds. Li holds on to his body, from severe pain. He believes that this feeling was so strong that it is easier to move on to another world. With an ominous grin, Chen beckons the girl to a duel. Chen notices that the girl has already become scared. The girl did not want to fight, because Chen might kill her. Having gathered his thoughts, Fun activates his technique. The girl looked at Chen and his further actions with a serious face. The girl activates another technique and throws ice at the guy. Chen notices that the girl is using water art and asks her to stop doing it, because the technique is too weak. The girl explains this by saying that water arts are the strongest in Qin and even Baidi. Chen clearly demonstrates the art that he himself masters. Chen shows how he concentrates a bright yellow glow in his hand. Chen looks at Fun and her reaction with a grin. Chen is thinking about what technique he should use to clearly demonstrate the pointlessness of the water technique. Chen decides to use the fire technique on the girl. Chen raises a huge flame and points it towards the girl. A huge explosion occurs near Chen, which greatly affects the girl. The girl could not understand what exactly happened just now. Chen throws small stones towards the girl, which gradually cut Fun's clothes. The girl opens her eyes in a moment. There was a small cut on her face. All the girl's clothes were torn to smithereens, which surprised the girl at first. Fun immediately begins to realize what just happened, which makes her blush very much. The girl begins to cover herself, asking the master why he did this. Chen notes that he actually went a little overboard. Chen calmly begins to take off his coat. A blushing Fun wonders what Chen is trying to do at the moment. Chen explains his actions by saying that he also planned to undress, so that it would be fair. The girl slowly decides to approach Chen. At that moment, Fun stumbles and, by inertia, flies towards Chen. The girl flies in surprise towards Chen, not knowing what will happen next. Chen manages to catch the girl holding her by the waist. The guy noticed that the girl's skin was quite soft. Chen blushed deeply at what he just did. The girl was very embarrassed and closed her eyes. Opening her eyes, the girl screamed loudly at what she saw. Chen suddenly began to run away from the training field. Chen asked Lo and Tong to bring clothes and healing elixirs to Fun. Chen, with a straight face, believed that the girl could have suffered greatly. embarrassedly noting that it was worth it. Tong wonders why, in this case, Chen is running away from such a beautiful student. Chen angrily replied that it was none of Tong's business. Tong also decides to tell interesting news that students are actively starting to be recruited into the new network. Chen recalls that this sect was located right next to Begu City. Tong notes that despite the fact that Chen is already a master, many members of other sects want to get there. Chen asks who created this sect then. Tong explains that according to legend, the sect was created by Xinyan 2000 years ago. Chen understands which god Tong is remembering now. Chen begins to assume that since Nianchen created this sect, then all his legacies remained there. Chen wonders if Tong can enter this sect. Tong states that he has no right to do this. Chen understands that he will have to go there. Chen wonders where exactly it is. Tong explains that the sect is located 600 miles north of the city of Qin and 100 miles from the city of Beigaching. Tong asks to go with the master. Chen declares that there is no need for this, because the mercenaries still intend to finish him off. Chen decides to go on a lonely journey. Having reincarnated as another person, Chen assumes that with the help of the barrier nothing will happen to his academy. Chen reaches Qinyan City. Chen was surprised that the road between Qin City and Beiminjiuan was so busy. Several men at the table noticed that registration for the sect had already begun. The cultivator believes that talented cultivators gather in this sect. The man hoped that he could see the great world banker. One of the guys covers the mouth of the most talkative one, because other people shouldn't hear it. Chen was interested in information about the World Bank. Chen suggests that what the guys said is just unconfirmed information. Chen added that he could not believe that the scheme would become so flawless. The cultivators continued to discuss the recent news, which Chen himself listened to. Chen noted that Shen was actually quite the cornerstone. Several men asked to disperse as soon as possible because Lord Luo will pass by now. One of the men asks Chen to step aside. In front of Chen's face was a horse with a guy on horseback. Chen decides in this case to use his power and punish the man for his disrespect. Chen sends his horse and the unknown far away from himself with his power. The man falls, hitting his back against the wall. Several men run up and try to help. The man stands up to him with the statement that everyone will pay for his insult. Chen noted with ridicule that he was very annoyed by the annoying flea next to him. The man demands his guards to stop him and fine him. A small shoe steps onto the road, activating the seal. Chen amazes all the animals attacking him with his technique. Chen also pushes all the guys aside. Chen believed that it was a pitiful sight that he was unable to even look at. The guy states that the guy was very unlucky after this incident. The guy tells Chen that he is not interested in any origin. Chen, with a sullen face, declares that he is only interested in one existence. Chen gets quite close to the guy's face, declaring that it really annoys him. The guy warns Chen again, so that he gets out of his way. Chen calmly continued to look at the fussy boy. Chen states that the guy should not cross the line, because he looks completely different. Chen states that it doesn't matter to him that he is the son of one of the founders of the Peace Bank. The guy is surprised to hear about the Tunchen sect and wonders where it is located. Chen declares that Tunchen is a great heritage and can fully be called a sect. Behind Chen, several unknown people approach him. The two great disciples noticed that the young master was again fooling passers-by. The guy noticed that he was unlucky today and should leave. The great student explains that the guy shouts for days that he is the real son of the World Bank. Chen decides to clarify with the guy that since he is not a member of the World Bank, what is going on here? The guy says that Chen won't be able to do anything to him. The two great disciples looked around at this moment. The guy explains to Chen that although he is not the son of the owner of the World Bank, he is the heir of Pailai. Chen had heard a lot about this sect, which can only be compared to Baidi City. The student asks the young master to stop doing such things, because his father expelled the guy so that he would reform. The guy removes the student's hands and demands with a shout, so that they get away from him. The guy thinks all the stories about the temple are strange, but he still decides to send several of his subordinates. Chen noted with a grin that when the guy discovered everything, it would be too late. After just one day, Chen was already in Beiminjiuan. Chen stood silently in the crowd among other people. The guy publicly stated that he had already met people from Qin City. The guy planned to investigate the Tunchen temple. The great disciples surrounding the guy are interested in what kind of temple they are talking about. The guy carefully looks around. The guy states that they have come to get the inheritance of the spiritual mind. Chen noted that in fact he still didn't know much. Great students noted that they did not expect to see so many great people. The guy added that they had all come a long way and were all confident of their victory. At this moment, the unknown person demands that everyone be silent. The old man announces the beginning and explains that those who can pass the gate will be admitted to the first test. Chen noticed that among all those present he was the only black sheep. The entire crowd slowly began to pass through the huge gate. Chen noticed that they had not even started the test, and such discipline was already happening. It's Chen's turn and he slowly climbs the steps. Chen activates his seal to pass. But at this moment the guy is sharply thrown to the side. Chen doesn't understand why he was thrown back. Chen lands on his feet and silently analyzes the situation. The elder declares that the guy is not strong enough and therefore Chen is not able to pass through the gate. Chen wonders whether the level of cultivation depends on the spiritual level. The elder declares that there are the same rules for everyone. The guy points his finger at Chen, mocking the fact that Chen introduced himself as the master of the Tuntian temple. Chen, unable to endure such humiliation, gets to his feet and heads for the gate again. Chen slowly approached the gate. The elder repeatedly stated that he was too weak to pass.